What if I told you that while most people are panicking about rising grocery prices and empty shelves, there's a select group of smart shoppers who haven't worried about food costs in years? These aren't extreme preppers living in bunkers. They're ordinary families who discovered something incredible. There are foods that literally never expire when stored properly, and you can start building your forever pantry today for less than the cost of 1 week's groceries. I'm talking about foods that archaeologists have found in thousand-year-old sites that were still perfectly edible. Foods that survived wars, famines, and natural disasters while keeping their nutritional value intact. And here's the kicker. You probably have at least 3 of these immortal foods in your kitchen right now without even knowing it. Before we dive deep into this game-changing list, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because what you're about to learn will completely transform how you think about food storage. By the end of this series, you'll have a bulletproof plan that could save your family thousands of dollars while ensuring you never run out of real nutritious food again. Now, I've spent months researching this topic, consulting with food scientists, survival experts, and even archaeologists to bring you the most comprehensive list of forever foods ever compiled. We're not talking about expensive freeze-dried meals or weird survival rations. These are real foods that taste amazing, provide serious nutrition, and happen to last decades when stored correctly. Let me start with something that's going to blow your mind. Food scientists recently tested samples from a 4,000-year-old tomb, and what they found changes everything we thought we knew about food preservation. But more on that in just a moment. Here's what most people get wrong about long-term food storage. They focus on expiration dates printed on packages, but those dates are actually about peak quality, not safety. The foods I'm about to reveal don't just ignore those arbitrary dates. They laugh at them. We're talking about ingredients that can outlast your mortgage, your car payments, and probably your grandchildren. The secret lies in understanding what makes food spoil in the first place. It's all about moisture, oxygen, light, and temperature. Control these four enemies, and you can make food last practically forever. The ancient civilizations figured this out thousands of years ago, and modern science has proven them right. Let's jump into our first category of forever foods, starting with the absolute champions of longevity. Number 1. Sea salt. This isn't your regular table salt with all those anti-caking agents and additives. I'm talking about pure, unrefined sea salt that comes straight from evaporated ocean water. Here's something incredible. Geologists have found salt deposits that are millions of years old, and they're still perfectly usable. That's not just impressive, that's practically immortal. But sea salt isn't just about lasting forever, it's about functionality. In emergency situations, salt becomes your best friend for preserving other foods. You can cure meats, preserve vegetables, and even use it for cleaning wounds if medical supplies run low. One 50-pound bag costs about $40 and will literally last multiple lifetimes. Store it in a dry place and you've got seasoning and preservation power that never quits. Number 2. White sugar. Before you roll your eyes thinking this is just for sweet tooth emergencies, let me explain why sugar deserves serious respect in long-term storage. Sugar is nature's preservation powerhouse. The ancient Egyptians used it to preserve foods, and modern food scientists confirm that properly stored sugar can last indefinitely. Here's what makes sugar special. Its crystalline structure creates an environment where bacteria can't survive. No bacteria means no spoilage, ever. But sugar does more than just sweeten your emergency coffee. It's a crucial ingredient for preserving fruits, making jams, and even fermenting foods. During the Great Depression, families who had sugar stockpiles could trade it like currency because everyone needed it. Store your sugar in airtight containers with bay leaves to keep insects away, and you've got a forever ingredient that serves multiple purposes. A 20-pound bag costs less than $15 and contains enough sweetening power for years of baking, preserving, and trading. Number 3. Baking soda. This humble white powder sitting in your pantry right now is basically a miracle worker with an infinite shelf life. Sodium bicarbonate doesn't break down, doesn't spoil, and doesn't lose its potency over time. But here's where it gets interesting. Baking soda has over 50 different uses beyond baking. You can use it for cleaning, deodorizing, personal hygiene, and even as a natural antacid. During World War II, families relied on baking soda for everything from brushing teeth to cleaning wounds. Modern preppers keep multiple boxes because it's lightweight, cheap, and incredibly versatile. Store it in its original container or transfer it to airtight jars, and you've got a multi-purpose tool that never expires. Number 4. Distilled white vinegar. This clear liquid is basically liquid preservation magic. The acetic acid in vinegar creates such a hostile environment for bacteria that the vinegar itself becomes immortal. I've personally used vinegar that was sitting in my grandmother's pantry for over a decade, and it worked perfectly. But vinegar isn't just for salad dressing. It's a natural cleaner that kills 99% of bacteria, a food preservative that can extend the life of other ingredients, and even a natural weed killer for your garden. During uncertain times, having gallons of vinegar means having cleaning supplies, preservation capabilities, and even basic medical antiseptic all in one affordable bottle. The key is buying distilled white vinegar with 5% acidity. Store it in its original container away from direct sunlight, and it will outlast every other cleaning product in your home while costing a fraction of the price. Number 5. Instant coffee. Now, I know what you're thinking. Coffee isn't exactly a survival necessity, right? Wrong. During stressful situations, caffeine becomes incredibly valuable for maintaining alertness and mental clarity. But here's the amazing part. Properly stored instant coffee can maintain its flavor and potency for decades. Freeze-dried instant coffee undergoes a process that removes almost all moisture while preserving the coffee compounds. This creates a product that's essentially immune to spoilage. I've tested 20-year-old instant coffee from military surplus stores, and it was surprisingly good. The psychological boost of having real coffee during tough times cannot be overstated. Store instant coffee in its original sealed containers or transfer it to airtight jars with oxygen absorbers. A single large container provides hundreds of cups and costs less than what most people spend on coffee in a week. Number 6. Cornstarch. This fine white powder is often overlooked, but it's actually one of the most stable and versatile ingredients you can store long-term. Pure cornstarch, when kept dry, can last indefinitely without losing its thickening power or nutritional value. Beyond thickening soups and gravies, cornstarch serves as a natural deodorant, baby powder substitute, and even window cleaner when mixed with water. During the Great Depression, families used cornstarch for dozens of household applications because it was cheap and reliable. The secret to storing cornstarch is keeping it absolutely dry. Transfer it to airtight containers with silica gel packets, and you've got a forever ingredient that costs pennies per pound, but provides incredible utility. Number 7. Coconut oil. Unlike other cooking oils that turn rancid within months, coconut oil has remarkable stability due to its high saturated fat content. Properly stored coconut oil can maintain its quality for years, making it one of the most reliable cooking fats for long-term storage. But coconut oil goes beyond cooking. It's a natural moisturizer, antimicrobial agent, and even emergency lamp fuel. Pacific Island cultures have relied on coconut oil for centuries because of its incredible versatility and shelf stability. Store coconut oil in glass containers away from heat and light. Even if it solidifies in cooler temperatures, it maintains all its properties and simply melts when warmed. A few jars provide years of cooking oil, skincare, and emergency lighting fuel. We're just getting started with this incredible list of forever foods. Each one I've shared so far costs less than most people spend on a single restaurant meal, yet provides years or even decades of reliable nutrition and utility. Coming up next, we're diving into the grains and starches that have kept civilizations alive for thousands of years, plus some surprising protein sources that most people never consider for long-term storage. You won't believe what archaeologists recently discovered about food preservation that changes everything. But before we continue, here's something that's going to completely change how you think about food storage. A team of archaeologists in Peru recently discovered a sealed clay jar containing quinoa that was over 800 years old. When they tested it, the seeds were still viable and could actually be planted and grown. That's not just preservation, that's time travel for nutrition. This discovery proves what ancient civilizations knew instinctively. Certain foods are practically indestructible when stored correctly. And that brings us to our next category of forever foods that will form the backbone of your eternal pantry. Number 8, hard red wheat berries. These aren't your typical flour substitutes. We're talking about whole, unprocessed wheat kernels that contain the bran, germ, and endosperm intact. When stored in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers, wheat berries can remain viable for 30 years or more while retaining their full nutritional profile. Here's what makes wheat berries incredible. You can grind them into fresh flour whenever you need it, sprout them for fresh greens, or cook them whole like rice. During the Mormon pioneer era, families survived entire winters on wheat berries because they provided complete nutrition and never spoiled. The key is buying hard red wheat, which has higher protein content than soft varieties. Store them in food-grade buckets with gamma seal lids, add oxygen absorbers, and you've got decades of bread-making potential. A 50-pound bucket costs around $60 and contains enough wheat to bake hundreds of loaves of bread. Number 9. White jasmine rice. We touched on rice earlier, but let's talk specifics because not all rice is created equal. White jasmine rice has been stripped of its oil-containing bran layer, making it virtually immune to rancidity. This process, which some people criticize for removing nutrients, actually creates one of the most stable foods on Earth. Food scientists have tested rice samples stored for over 40 years, and they remained perfectly edible and nutritious. The secret lies in the milling process that removes the oils that cause spoilage in brown rice. When stored in airtight containers with bay leaves to deter insects, white rice becomes your ultimate carbohydrate insurance policy. A 20-pound bag costs less than $20 and provides approximately 80 servings of filling, energy-dense nutrition. That's about 25 cents per serving for food that could outlast your children. Number 10. Rolled oats. These aren't the instant oatmeal packets loaded with sugar and preservatives. I'm talking about old-fashioned rolled oats that have been steamed and flattened, but retain their natural oils and nutrients. When stored properly, these oats can last up to 30 years while maintaining their ability to provide sustained energy. Oats are nutritional powerhouses containing fiber, protein, and essential minerals. They can be eaten as porridge, ground into flour, or even used to make oat milk in emergency situations. During the Irish potato famine, communities that had oat reserves survived while others perished. Store rolled oats in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers in a cool, dry place. The natural oils in oats make them slightly less stable than white rice, but proper storage still gives you decades of reliable breakfast nutrition. Number 11. Pearled barley. This often overlooked grain deserves serious consideration for long-term storage. The pearling process removes the outer hull and bran, creating a shelf-stable grain that can last decades when stored correctly. Barley provides more fiber than rice and has a satisfying, chewy texture that makes meals feel more substantial. Archaeological evidence shows that barley was one of the first grains cultivated by humans over 10,000 years ago, and it sustained entire civilizations. Modern storage techniques make it even more reliable. Barley works in soups, stews, and can even be ground into flour for baking. A 10-pound bag costs around $15 and provides dozens of hearty meals. Store it the same way you'd store wheat berries, and you've got another reliable grain that adds variety to your forever pantry. Number 12. Dried pasta. Here's something most people don't realize. Properly made dried pasta can last almost indefinitely when stored correctly. The key is choosing pasta made from a 100% durum wheat with no eggs or other perishable ingredients. This creates a product that's essentially dehydrated grain in a convenient, pre-shaped form. Italian families have been storing dried pasta in sealed containers for generations, and modern food science confirms their wisdom. The low moisture content and simple ingredients make dried pasta incredibly stable. I've personally cooked pasta that was stored for over 5 years, and it tasted identical to fresh pasta. Store various shapes in airtight containers to add variety to your meals. Spaghetti, penne, and shells provide different textures and cooking options. A few pounds of each shape costs less than $30 and provides hundreds of satisfying meals when combined with your other forever foods. Number 13. Dried legumes. This category includes lentils, black beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, and split peas. These protein powerhouses can last 30 years or more when stored in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers. But here's what makes them truly special. They're complete nutrition sources that can sustain human life indefinitely. Legumes provide plant-based protein, fiber, iron, and complex carbohydrates. Combined with grains like rice or wheat, they create complete amino acid profiles equivalent to meat protein. Many cultures have survived primarily on bean and grain combinations for centuries. The storage method is crucial. Buy dried legumes in bulk, inspect them for damage, then store in food-grade buckets with tight-fitting lids. Add bay leaves and oxygen absorbers to prevent insect damage and oxidation. A variety pack of different legumes costs around $50 and provides months of protein-rich meals. Number 14. Raw honey. We mentioned honey briefly, but let's explore why it deserves a top spot on any forever food list. Raw honey contains natural enzymes, antioxidants, and antimicrobial compounds that actually improve its preservation properties over time. Unlike processed honey, raw honey retains all these beneficial compounds. Beekeepers have discovered honey in hives that's decades old and still perfectly edible. The key is buying truly raw honey from local sources and storing it in glass containers. If it crystallizes, that's actually a sign of quality, not spoilage. Simply warm it gently to return it to liquid form. Raw honey provides instant energy, natural antibiotics, and can be used medicinally for wound care and sore throats. A few large jars from local beekeepers cost around $60 and provides years of natural sweetening and medicine. The foods we've covered so far represent the foundation of any serious long-term food storage plan. Each one costs less than most families spend on a single grocery trip, yet provides years of reliable nutrition. But we're just hitting our stride. The next group of forever foods includes some surprising protein sources and flavor enhancers that will make your stored meals actually enjoyable to eat. Number 15. Pure vanilla extract. Here's something that will absolutely shock you about vanilla extract. Unlike most liquid ingredients that degrade over time, pure vanilla extract actually improves with age, developing deeper and more complex flavors. The alcohol content, which must be at least 35% for real vanilla extract, acts as a natural preservative that keeps it stable indefinitely. But here's the catch that most people miss. It has to be pure vanilla extract, not the artificial stuff. Real vanilla extract contains vanillin compounds suspended in alcohol, creating a product that literally cannot spoil. I've used vanilla extract that belonged to my great-grandmother, and it was more flavorful than anything you can buy in stores today. The beauty of vanilla extract goes beyond baking. During tough times, having real vanilla can transform basic ingredients into comfort foods that boost morale. A small bottle can flavor hundreds of batches of pancakes, cookies, or even coffee drinks. Store it in dark glass bottles away from light, and you've got decades of premium flavoring that costs pennies per use. Number 16. Whole peppercorns. Most people think of pepper as just another spice, but whole peppercorns are actually one of the most historically valuable forever foods. Ancient traders called them black gold because they were literally used as currency. Modern food science explains why. Whole peppercorns contain oils that remain stable for decades when the outer shell stays intact. Ground pepper loses its potency within months, but whole peppercorns maintain their heat and flavor for years. They also contain piperine, a compound that helps your body absorb nutrients more efficiently. During medieval times, a pound of peppercorns was worth more than a pound of silver. Store whole peppercorns in airtight glass containers, and you've got premium seasoning that never loses its punch. A few pounds costs around $25 and provides years of flavor enhancement for your stored foods. Plus, grinding fresh pepper releases oils that make even basic meals taste gourmet. Number 17. Dried herbs and spices. This category transforms your forever pantry from survival rations into actual cuisine. Properly dried herbs like oregano, thyme, rosemary, and bay leaves can maintain their flavor and medicinal properties for years when stored correctly. These aren't just seasonings, they're concentrated nutrition and natural medicine. Many dried herbs contain compounds that actually strengthen over time. Bay leaves develop more complex flavors after months of storage, while dried oregano becomes more potent. Ancient civilizations valued herbs so highly that they were often buried with pharaohs as provisions for the afterlife. The key is buying whole dried herbs rather than powdered versions. Whole leaves and seeds retain their oils longer. Store them in airtight containers away from light and heat. A collection of essential herbs costs around $40 and can transform thousands of basic meals into satisfying, flavorful dishes. Number 18. Bouillon cubes and powder. These concentrated flavor bombs are seriously underrated in long-term storage planning. Quality bouillon contains dehydrated vegetables, meat extracts, and seasonings compressed into cubes that can last for years. They're essentially instant broth that transforms plain rice or pasta into hearty, satisfying meals. During World War II, bouillon cubes were included in military rations because they provided both nutrition and the psychological comfort of hot, flavorful food. Modern versions are even more concentrated and stable. One cube can season an entire pot of grain or vegetables, making bland survival foods actually enjoyable. Store bouillon in its original packaging or transfer to airtight containers. Different flavors like chicken, beef, and vegetable provide variety for your stored meals. A variety pack costs around $15 and contains enough seasoning for hundreds of meals. Number 19. Powdered eggs. Real powdered eggs, not the artificial substitutes, are created by spray drying fresh eggs into a fine powder that retains most of the original nutrition. When stored properly, powdered eggs can last 10 years or more while providing complete protein and essential amino acids. These aren't just for emergency scrambled eggs. Powdered eggs work perfectly in baking, providing the binding and leavening properties that fresh eggs offer. During the Great Depression, families relied on powdered eggs because they provided animal protein without refrigeration requirements. The reconstitution ratio is simple. 1 tablespoon of powder plus 2 tablespoons of water equals 1 fresh egg. Store powdered eggs in their original containers, or transfer to airtight jars with oxygen absorbers. A large container costs around $25 and replaces several dozen fresh eggs. Number 20. Coconut flour. This isn't regular wheat flour that goes rancid quickly. Coconut flour is made from dried, ground coconut meat that's been defatted, creating a high-fiber, high-protein flour alternative that stays fresh for years. Unlike wheat flour, coconut flour doesn't contain oils that cause spoilage. Coconut flour absorbs more liquid than regular flour, so a little goes a long way. It adds natural sweetness and richness to baked goods while providing more nutrition than wheat flour. Pacific Island cultures have used coconut flour for centuries because it stores well in tropical climates. Store coconut flour in airtight containers in cool, dry conditions. It naturally resists insects and mold due to its low moisture content. A few bags cost around $30 and provide years of baking potential with superior nutrition compared to regular flour. Number 21. Freeze-dried fruits. These aren't the same as regular dried fruits that contain residual moisture. Freeze-dried fruits undergo a process that removes 98% of moisture while retaining almost all original nutrients and flavor. The result is fruit that can last 25 years or more in proper storage. What makes freeze-dried fruit special is its versatility. You can eat it as crunchy snacks, rehydrate it for cooking, or grind it into powder for flavoring. During long storage periods, having sweet, vitamin-rich foods helps prevent nutrition deficiencies and provides psychological comfort. Popular options include strawberries, blueberries, and apples. Store them in their original pouches or transfer to airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. A variety pack costs around $50 and provides years of fruit nutrition when fresh options aren't available. Number 22. Chia seeds. These tiny seeds pack incredible nutritional density and have remarkable storage stability. Chia seeds contain omega-3 fatty acids, complete protein, and fiber in a form that stays fresh for years without refrigeration. Ancient Aztec warriors carried chia seeds because they provided sustained energy for long journeys. Modern research confirms what ancient cultures knew. Chia seeds expand in liquid to create filling, nutritious meals. They can be soaked to make puddings, sprinkled on foods for crunch, or ground into flour. Their omega-3 content makes them valuable when fish and other fresh sources aren't available. Store chia seeds in airtight containers away from light and heat. Their natural oils are more stable than flax seeds, giving them longer storage life. A few pounds costs around $25 and provides months of superfood nutrition in a compact form. Number 23, quinoa. This ancient grain is technically a seed, and it provides complete protein containing all essential amino acids. When stored properly, quinoa can last decades while maintaining its nutritional profile. Unlike other grains, quinoa cooks quickly and has a pleasant, nutty flavor that doesn't require heavy seasoning. Quinoa was called the gold of the Incas because it sustained their civilization in harsh mountain conditions. Modern nutritionists recognize it as one of the most complete plant foods available. It works as a rice substitute, breakfast porridge, or salad base. The key is buying whole quinoa seeds and storing them in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. Quinoa naturally contains saponins that deter insects, making it naturally pest-resistant. A 10-pound bag costs around $40 and provides dozens of protein-rich meals. Number 24, amaranth. This ancient pseudo-grain has been feeding civilizations for over 8,000 years, and modern storage techniques make it even more reliable. Amaranth contains more protein than most grains and includes lysine, an amino acid often missing in plant foods. When stored correctly, it can last 30 years or more. Amaranth can be popped like tiny popcorn, cooked as porridge, or ground into flour. It has a slightly nutty flavor and provides sustained energy. Ancient Aztecs valued amaranth so highly that it was used in religious ceremonies and considered sacred food. Store amaranth the same way you'd store other grains, in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers. Its small size means a little goes a long way, and its complete nutrition profile makes it valuable for long-term health. A 5-pound bag costs around $20 and provides months of high-quality nutrition. Number 25, textured vegetable protein. This dehydrated soy product provides meat-like texture and complete protein in a shelf-stable form. When rehydrated, it absorbs flavors and provides the satisfying chewiness that's often missing from plant-based storage foods. Properly stored, it can last years while retaining its protein content. During the Cold War, both American and Soviet military included textured vegetable protein in rations because it provided essential amino acids without refrigeration. Modern versions are more refined and flavorful. It works in chili, tacos, pasta sauce, and anywhere you'd normally use ground meat. Store textured vegetable protein in airtight containers away from moisture. It's lightweight and expands significantly when rehydrated, so a small amount provides substantial nutrition. A few pounds costs around $15 and replaces many pounds of fresh meat protein. What we've covered so far represents an incredible foundation for long-term food security. Each of these foods costs less than what most families spend on a single dinner out, yet provides months or years of reliable nutrition. But we're not done yet. The remaining foods on our list include some of the most surprising and valuable items that most people never consider for storage, including one food that NASA uses for space missions because of its incredible stability and nutrition density. Number 26. Ghee. This clarified butter represents one of the most overlooked forever foods in Western culture, yet it's been sustaining families in India for thousands of years. Unlike regular butter that spoils quickly, ghee has had all its milk solids and water removed, leaving pure butterfat that can sit at room temperature for years without going rancid. Here's what makes ghee absolutely incredible. It actually improves with age, developing deeper, more complex flavors over time. I've personally used ghee that was stored for over 3 years, and it tasted better than anything fresh from the store. The clarification process removes everything that causes spoilage, leaving you with pure, golden cooking fat that's practically indestructible. But ghee isn't just about longevity. It has a high smoke point, making it perfect for frying and sautéing. It adds rich, buttery flavor to rice, vegetables, and baked goods. In Ayurvedic medicine, ghee is considered a healing food that supports digestion and overall health. Store ghee in glass jars with tight-fitting lids away from direct sunlight. Even if it solidifies in cool weather, it maintains all its properties and simply melts when warmed. A few jars cost around $30 and provide years of premium cooking fat that never needs refrigeration. Number 27. Miso paste. This fermented soybean paste might seem like an exotic ingredient, but it's actually one of the most stable and nutritious foods you can store long term. The fermentation process creates an environment so hostile to harmful bacteria that miso can last for years without refrigeration, often improving in flavor as it ages. Traditional Japanese families keep miso for decades, passing down containers through generations. The salt content and beneficial bacteria created during fermentation act as natural preservatives. Just 1 tablespoon of miso can transform plain rice or vegetables into a satisfying, umami-rich meal. Beyond flavoring, miso provides probiotics, complete protein, and essential minerals. During World War II, Japanese communities survived harsh conditions, partly because they had miso reserves that provided both nutrition and flavor when other foods were scarce. Store miso in its original container or transfer to airtight glass jars. Different varieties like white, red, and mixed miso offer flavor variations. A few containers cost around $25 and provide years of instant broth and seasoning that make stored foods actually enjoyable. Number 28. Powdered butter. Real powdered butter, not margarine powder or artificial substitutes, is created through a specialized drying process that removes moisture while preserving butterfat and flavor compounds. When stored properly, it can maintain its taste and nutritional value for years while providing the richness that makes stored food satisfying. This isn't just a survival food curiosity. Powdered butter works perfectly in baking, providing the fat content and flavor that recipes require. It can be reconstituted with water for spreading or used directly in dry mixes. During the space program, NASA included powdered butter in astronaut rations because it provided essential fats without spoilage risks. The reconstitution is simple. Mix with small amounts of water until you reach desired consistency. For baking, you can often use it directly in dry ingredients. Store powdered butter in its original container or airtight jars with oxygen absorbers. A large container costs around $20 and replaces pounds of fresh butter. Number 29. Sprouting jar lids and screens. Now, this might seem like equipment rather than food, but hear me out. These simple mesh lids transform your stored grains and legumes into fresh, living nutrition. Sprouting increases vitamin content, creates enzymes, and provides fresh greens when other vegetables aren't available. The process is incredibly simple. Soak seeds overnight, drain, then rinse twice daily until sprouts appear. Within days, you have fresh, crunchy nutrition that's more vitamin-rich than the original seeds. During long winters or emergency situations, sprouting provides the fresh nutrition that prevents deficiency diseases. Sprouting works with mung beans, alfalfa seeds, broccoli seeds, and many of the grains we've already discussed. The equipment costs around $15 and lasts indefinitely, turning your stored foods into renewable fresh nutrition. It's like having a garden that works indoors without soil or sunlight. Number 30. Properly stored wheat flour. Wait, didn't I say regular flour spoils quickly? That's true for store-bought flour that's already been ground and exposed to air. But when you store whole wheat berries and grind them fresh, or when you properly store flour with oxygen absorbers in sealed containers, everything changes. Here's the secret that most people miss. Freshly ground flour from stored wheat berries provides better nutrition and flavor than anything you can buy in stores. The oils in whole wheat start degrading the moment it's ground, which is why store flour goes rancid. But when you control the grinding process, you get maximum nutrition and freshness. Even pre-ground flour can last years when stored with oxygen absorbers in sealed containers. The key is removing oxygen and moisture immediately after opening commercial packages. This stops the oxidation process that causes rancidity and preserves both nutrition and flavor. A grain mill costs around $50 and pays for itself quickly by allowing you to buy wheat berries in bulk and grind fresh flour as needed. Combined with properly stored flour reserves, you have unlimited bread-making potential that costs pennies per loaf. The investment in a good grain mill transforms your entire food storage strategy. Fresh ground flour makes better bread, pancakes, and baked goods than anything store-bought. It's the difference between surviving on stored foods and actually thriving with nutrition that tastes amazing. There you have it, the complete list of 30 foods that literally last forever when stored properly. Each one represents a building block in creating true food security that doesn't depend on grocery stores, supply chains, or even electricity. Here's what most people don't realize. Building this forever pantry costs less than most families spend on groceries in 2 months, yet it provides years of reliable nutrition. We're not talking about expensive survival gear or weird freeze-dried meals. These are real foods that you can start using immediately while building your long-term security. The key to success is starting small and building gradually. Pick 5 items from this list and begin there. Master storing those foods properly, then expand your collection. Within a year, you'll have a pantry that could sustain your family through any crisis while saving money on your regular grocery bills. Remember, this isn't about fear or paranoia. It's about smart preparation and financial wisdom. Food prices aren't going down, supply chains aren't getting more reliable, and having a backup plan has never made more sense. If this video opened your eyes to the incredible world of forever foods, smash that like button and subscribe for more content that helps you build real security in an uncertain world. And here's something special. Check out my next video where I reveal the 5 biggest mistakes people make when starting their food storage journey. These mistakes can ruin months of preparation, but they're completely avoidable when you know what to watch for. Your future self will thank you for taking action today. Start building your forever pantry now, because true food security isn't about hoping things stay normal. It's about being prepared when they don't.